Well, hi everybody. How are you tonight? Yeah, bet that surprised you. Different kind of opening because I changed up what I was going to do. I'm going to do my Baobab books tomorrow because I finally found my Baobab pictures today that can go with it. And I did some editing. How is everybody tonight? It's good to see you guys. I see you in the chat here. Linda's here and conversing with Tamara about Tamara's amazing pieces, seeing if she's chosen one. She hasn't. I think, it's kind of like just turn them all upside down and do the ink a bink, a bottle of ink, cork fill out, new stick. That's what I always used to do. They're all so beautiful. Oh, yes, Tamara's here. Julia's here, yay. And Lupe is here. Hi, Lupe. Good to have you here, you guys. Oh, my goodness. There's Gail. I'm sorry if I'm yawning. I still have not quite caught up on everything. And it's So I'm drinking bubbly water today. And I had to get up early and head out this morning, and so that kind of threw me off. I didn't sleep in. Julia and Linda and Gail and Linda. There's Larry. Yay. Yep, everybody's checking in. And Angel. Frenchberry's Playhouse is here. Good to have you here, you guys. Everybody's here and hanging out. So, as you saw in the opening, I pulled up, it had the Statue of Liberty, and I hope that this camera is too close to me. Yes, too close to me. Eating my chin. And because I had downloaded a book, or checked it out at the library called Saving Lady Liberty, and I just found it to be really, really, really interesting. And I wanted to read it tonight. It's another one of the historical nonfiction and about those little slices of life and people that make a big difference. And I call it Crowdfunding 101 as taught by Lady Liberty. And because it's you'll see how it goes with that story. But it's called Saving Lady Liberty, Joseph Pulitzer's Fight for the Statue of Liberty, I had some inkling in history about this whole thing and understood it or knew a little bit about it, but this told me a little bit more. To the one with the smallest headdress that goes daintily down her face, yes. Spin the wheel of fortune, win a geisha, no losers here, everyone's a winner. I've been called fine since high school. Oh, Larry. Oh, Larry. Angel, get on that. He's asking for it there. He's asking for the, I think he needs a little bit of his girl telling him he's fine. Anyway, yeah, so tonight I'm going to read a couple of these, or this one story. It's a little bit, it's just one of those really interesting nonfiction and the way they've done it. It's by Claudia Friedel, and let me tell a little bit about her. Well, I go to next scene. Yeah, should be right there. Yep. So she has another book coming out on October 11th. A road trip camping with the four vagabonds, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Harvey Firestone, and John Burroughs. That ought to be fun to see. But she's done a fair number of other historical fiction picture books. George Washington's Spies, Gracie Banker and her Hello Girls Answer the Call, Goliath, Hero of the Great Baltimore Fire, To the Front, Clara Barton and the Battle of the Antietam. Anyway, so about herself, though, let's find out about her. She grew up in Kansas, Virginia, North Dakota, and Minnesota. She started writing poetry in grade school. I come from a family of, let's see, hang on just a sec. I gotta trying to get this bigger. She comes from a family of fabulous cooks and chefs. As a teacher, I loved going to school with my 2 children every single day. Being in the water seems to inspire some of my best ideas. Water person. In the pool, the tub, or the shower. And she lives in Baltimore and on the Eastern Shore with her husband. So that's kind of what she does. She says, every job I've ever had has been with kids. Lucky me. I've been a tennis pro, a school counselor, a therapist, and for 20 years I taught elementary school. I especially love teaching first graders to read and write. That is an exceptional feeling. That my career was, the first 17 years was spent with kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, mainly first and second. But teaching kids to read when they first read their own name, start to recognize it's a thrill like you can't believe. I like a monkey on a cloud. Baby, hey Gail, yay! There's checking in. Yes. Anyway, so that's who is the author of this book. Now, the illustrator is a guy named Stacy Interest, and really interesting person. Is a painter, a children's book artist, illustrator, and an educator. His books have received a host of starred reviews and have been honored with the 2020 Sidney Taylor Book Award for The Book Rescuer. That's a book I have on my list to read to you guys. The New York Times, New York Public Library Best Illustrated Children's Book Award for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, The Case of RBG versus Inequality, and the Society for Children's Books Writer International Golden Kite for picture book illustration. The music in George's Head, as well as several gold medals from the Parents' Choice Awards. His first book for children, M is for Music, by Kathleen Cruel, was named an SLJ, that's Library Journal, Best Book of 2003, and Levi Strauss Gets a Bright Idea with author Tony Johnston was named the Best Book of 2011 by Publishers Weekly. So he's done a lot of really interesting things, and I thought what was cool was just some of his work, like this Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream Revolution, pictures by Stacy Interest, other kind of things that he's done. His galleries right here. Growing Up Through the Cracks, a series of childhood poverty funded by the Pulitzer Center for Crisis Reporting and the Economic Hardship Reporting Project and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. All of these other ones, just his work has a real interesting aspect to it. And I think when you see it in this book today, you'll see how he uses that it's almost graphical nature, but that it's a real interesting way he does in the mix of ink and paint and color and black and white and sepia all around it. I think you're going to like it. So the book is called Saving Lady Liberty, Joseph Pulitzer's Fight for the Statue of Liberty. I don't know about the monkey, but I love the Calliope music. Probably you could sing him that song, Fine, You're So Fine. Oh, you're so fine. Yeah, I'll get a copyright strike if I do that. Now he doesn't need the big head, so I shouldn't have started that. That was rude of me. I apologize, Larry. I should never have started that. Hold it. I am lost. Something showing here though on this overlay. Why did the FaceTime not show? Is it there? There it is. Oh. Why is it not showing? Ba-bam. Bum. There we go. Put that there. That one will work. So here we have, and let's see if that's the beginning of it. Yes, there's the front. So you can see the illustrations on this. It's almost a combination of like pen and ink and newsprint type of things, which will make sense when you're talking about Joseph Pulitzer. Joseph Pulitzer loved words, and the word he loved best was liberty. Maybe that's because Joseph, the son of a wealthy Jewish merchant, enjoyed freedoms that other Jewish boys outside of Pest, Hungary could not. But after his father died, Joseph was 11, and his world changed forever. Penniless from his father's death and his family's misfortune, Joseph left home at 17 to join the army. But no army in Europe wanted a scrawny teenager, nearly blind, without his glasses. Fortunately, President Lincoln's U.S. Army did. When Joseph heard that he could get paid to fight for the Union, he set sail, determined to make a new start in the land of liberty. Oops, that's not gonna. Proud to be a soldier in the 1st New York Lincoln Cavalry, the frail Hungarian was better suited for combat on the chessboard than on the battlefield. Bullied by his German-speaking regiment and bored with guard duty, Joseph couldn't wait for the Civil War to end. But finding work in New York City proved tougher than serving in the army. Joseph might have been fluent in French, German, Hungarian, and Yiddish, but a poor immigrant who didn't speak English couldn't compete with thousands of other veterans. After weeks of sleeping on park benches, Joseph hopped a train and headed for St. Louis, a city filled with German-speaking immigrants. Joseph felt right at home in this river port city, even if he couldn't find a job he liked. He shoveled coal, waited tables, dug graves, and even tended stubborn mules. But Joseph never minded working at the Mercantile Library, teaching himself to read and write in English. He especially didn't mind taking breaks in the chess room. Not only did Joseph's masterful moves draw a crowd, they drew the admiration of the owner of a German-language newspaper. When Joseph landed a reporting job at the Westlich Post, he finally had a job that he loved. Grateful for the freedom to write what he chose, Joseph uncovered corruption and inequality. His brash manner and relentless drive didn't earn him many friends, but no matter. Joseph kept moving up until he owned the newspaper alongside his chess-playing boss. After selling his shares of the paper, Joseph had money to spend and freedom to travel. At the 1878 Paris World's Fair, a spectacle of the world's latest inventions, Joseph and his new bride were dazzled by Alexander Graham Bell's talking machine and Thomas Edison's magical music box. But it was the colossal copper head of Auguste Bartholdi's unfinished statue, Liberty Enlightening the World, that captured Joseph's attention. Joseph Pulitzer shared Auguste Bartholdi's dream that one day the sculptor's magnificent monument to liberty would stand in New York City's harbor, the gateway to the land of opportunity. But both dreamers knew that the French were more excited to give their gift of friendship than Americans were to accept it. The United States had agreed to build a pedestal for the statue on Bedloe's Island in the heart of New York's harbor, but even the New Yorkers weren't interested in paying for it. Pulitzer didn't understand how Americans could turn their backs on France, the country that had fought for America's independence. He returned home determined to rally his countrymen to pay for the pedestal. When Pulitzer bought the New York World newspaper, he did more than just write about Lady Liberty. He put her smack dab in the middle of its masthead. And when he wasn't selling news, Pulitzer and the Pedestal Committee hosted horse races, boxing matches, baseball games to raise funds. World-class musicians gave concerts, and writers such as Walt Whitman, Mark Twain, and the lesser-known poet named Emma Lazarus auctioned off their work. Pulitzer printed the new colossus, Lazarus's sonnet of a worldwide welcome from the mother of exiles, hoping to inspire patriotism among other immigrants. But the pedestal funds still needed $100,000 to get Lady Liberty on her feet. In 1884, 9 years after Bartholdi's began building his masterpiece, Lady Liberty stood fully grown in the heart of Paris. But the building on Bedloe's Island had stopped. The pedestal fund had run dry. Furious, Pulitzer scolded the wealthy New Yorkers who hadn't donated a penny. He warned them that if New York didn't accept France's gift of friendship, Philadelphia or Boston would. The world. What a burning disgrace it would be to the United States if the statue of the goddess is brought to our shores on a French government vessel and is met by the intelligence that our people, with all their wealth, have not enough public spirit, liberality, and pride to provide it a fitting pedestal on which it could be placed. But the millionaires ignored him. Even the U.S. Congress and the governor of New York denied money for the pedestal. Frantic, Pulitzer searched for words to inspire his readers. What shall be done with the great Bartholdi statue? There is but one thing that can be done. We must raise the money. The World is the people's newspaper, and it now appeals to the people to come forward and raise the money. Let us not wait for the millionaires to give this money. It is not a gift from the millionaires of France to the millionaires of America, but a gift of the whole people of France to the whole people of America. Give something, however little. If he expected his readers to give their hard-earned money, maybe he should give them something in return. It was risky, but Pulitzer decided to make his readers a promise. If a person donated even a penny, he would print their name and their story in the World. Pulitzer donated $1,000 and left the rest up to the people. The next day, he received a few names, coins, and stories. In the days and weeks that followed, more names, more coins, and more stories of sacrifice and patriotism poured in. Children emptied piggy banks, waitresses mailed tips, and poker players sacrificed jackpots. While Americans rushed to read the donors' names and inspiring stories, the French bid adieu to their beloved gift. It was time for Lady Liberty to make her journey to America. Loaded with 214 crates of the statue's pieces, the Isere survived a stormy start before making its way across the Atlantic. The World's readers worried and waited for news of the ship's fate. On June 17, 1885, cheering crowds greeted the ocean-battered Voyager, and it sailed into New York's harbor. But with the pedestal only half finished, Lady Liberty had no place to stand. Now that crates filled her with her copper skin and steel spine lay huddled on Bedloe Island, Americans rushed to send in their donations. More than 120,000 people pitched in to raise $102,000. Young and old, rich and poor, and just like Pulitzer, veterans and immigrants. Together they saved Lady Liberty. Joseph Pulitzer had kept his promise. He printed every name and every story. Triumphant completion of the World's Fund for the Liberty Pedestal. I sold 2 pumpkins and 1 squash at the market this morning to show you that I'm in favor of liberty enlightening the world. I sent proceeds of the squash and pumpkins, 10 cents, Mark T. NB, I'm going to make Farmer Imwong sell some potatoes for the fund too. Port Jarvis. I'm a little spaniel dog. My master is very kind to me, but says he can't spare much for my account. I read your paper daily, that is, my master does, and I love liberty as much as most dogs do, even if millionaires do not. Please accept my note of $55. Truly yours, dog CO. 2 months later, your dog CO finds he cannot attend Colonel Knox's lecture tonight and wishes you to accept his ticket money on account of Bartholdi's Fund, $1 enclosed. I'm a little girl, only 8 years old. I send 10 cents for the pedestal contribution so in afterlife I can say I did something toward its erection. Emily. We send you from our kindergarten at Davenport, Iowa, for the pedestal of Bartholdi's statue, $1.35. I'm a little girl belonging to the school and I'm writing the letter for the school. We have 26 children at our school. I am not quite 8 years old and so you must not expect to get a very good letter from me. Esther. The one enclosed 50 cents is all we could find in Santa Claus's bank, which Papa opened last night. Please give it to Miss Liberty, whom we hope to see when we go to Coney Island this summer with our shovels and pails to dig sand. I'm 4 years old and my sister is 3. Yours, Johnny and Mamie. I'm a little boy, 6 years old. Mama gave 4 cents, which I put in my frog bank. I got 3 cents from Fanny, 2 cents from Claire, and 1 cent from Harry. Please give the 10 cents to the Statue Fund, Albany, New York. Enclosed, please find $2 subscribed by the boys of the Hebrew Sheltering Guardian Society on a visiting day for the Bartholdi Pedestal Fund, as below, hoping this cause you have undertaken may prove a success. I remain, LMJ, New York. Those amazing letters. On October 28th, 1886, Pulitzer stood in his office and watched nearly 1 million people parade under the arch he had built for Lady Liberty's homecoming. It had been 8 long years since Pulitzer first looked into Lady Liberty's eyes, and now with his own fading eyesight, he witnessed Bartholdi unveil his magnificent monument, ready to welcome every traveler with a torch of hope and a promise of freedom. Pulitzer thought of Lady Liberty's journey and remembered his own. Liberty, the world. Joseph Pulitzer had always loved words, and the word he loved best was liberty. Let's see. Catching up with what everybody's been talking about. I watched you fix that forklift the other night. Take that, Larry. I was watching that. Yeah. Oh, Larry, yes, you feel my father's pain in all the women around. It's my dad. That's why he spent a lot of time riding a tractor. Wait a minute, Larry. Many fill-in buckets. Look, I know, isn't the artwork amazing? It took a long, oh gosh, I can't remember. Let's see, what does it say about some facts about this? So afterward, Joseph Pulitzer considered his successful pedestal campaign the world's first crowdfunding effort, one of his greatest achievements. Because of his misfortunes as a child and his struggles as an immigrant, Pulitzer was driven to speak out against injustice and champion liberty. He created the modern-day newspaper format, making newspapers more affordable, readable, and enjoyable for all people, not just the wealthy and educated. He added sports, entertainment, fashion, comics, human interest stories, and investigative reporting pieces. He made articles shorter and more exciting. He added cartoons and illustrations to capture readers' attention, and he proved that good newspapers could entertain as well as enlighten. Pulitzer's insatiable appetite for learning and his great respect for excellence inspired him to leave money in his will for the Pulitzer Prize to reward the highest achievements of journalists and writers. He also left money to start Columbia University's School of Journalism. Wow. Pulitzer suffered from poor health for much of his adult life, and for years after he watched the unveiling of the Statue of Liberty, Pulitzer was completely blind. Sightless and extremely sensitive to noise, Pulitzer spent his last years where he felt most at peace, on his yacht, Liberty. And facts about that. That was on display in Paris in 1883. Lady Liberty has greeted over 14 million immigrants who sailed into New York's harbor between 1886 and 1920. Edouard René Levre de Leroux, the French poet, author, abolitionist, and political scholar known as the father of the Statue of Liberty, came up with the idea for the monument as a centennial gift to America. He shared his idea with Auguste Barthold during a dinner party at Le Boulevards in 1875. Founded the Franco-American Union Committee. Members of both countries helped fundraise the statue and pedestal. So 600 French artisans built the statue at Bartholdi's studio in Paris from 1875 to 1884. So it took 9 years. It was built in 8 horizontal sections. Wow. The spine of the statue is a steel staircase built by Gustave Eiffel, the same engineer who designed the Eiffel Tower. I did not know that. So there's a whole bunch of cool facts. Made of copper, Lady Liberty was originally the color of a new penny. It took over 30 years for her to turn green. And the copper sheeting that covers the Statue of Liberty is only 3/32 of an inch thick. The technique used to hammer the copper on the reverse side is called repousse, I think. The 7 rays on the crown represent the halo of the sun rays, showing later Lady Liberty's divinity. 25 windows symbolize the jewels of the crown. There are 377 steps inside the statue of the pedestal. There is a door on the sole of the statue's right sandal. Kinds of stuff about her. So there's a whole bunch more with this book, a whole bunch of really kind of cool fact information. This is one of those kind of books that, you know, the kids can get, and or even anybody who has that interest. It has just enough of the facts that you can read about it, but the artwork on it is just really fascinating, and I think it fits really well with the type of like, especially like this one. Go back here. You know, how the kind of faceless aspect to the people are not so much, but the when you do see the faces, they're the everyday people. And then when the boat's coming across, in the storm. The artwork is just so nicely done. And I just thought it was a cool idea that he considered it the first crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is such a big deal now. You know, I think when I was growing up, I don't remember ever really hearing about it. But to imagine that crowdfunding now and then, I think it's pretty cool. I love that. Yes. So amazing. Wonder if people would ever come together like that now. You know, I think people do oftentimes come together for some building of things or a rescuing of certain type of things, of pulling it together to put things back together. You know, I think we hear more often about what's not being done or who is tearing things down. We don't very often hear about the small little things that are going on in so many places that are building things up, that are building libraries or building art installations or rebuilding things or rescuing stuff or saving this and that. And I think, you know, that's just the nature of, unfortunately, the nature of the headlines are easier to go for the dramatic, scary stuff and that thing rather than the things that we like that fill our bucket. You know, we're more into this stuff that fills our buckets, like this. So anyway, that was the story I wanted to share tonight. It was still, I needed to pull up a little bit of history in different places. And tomorrow night I will have the books on the baobab tree from South Africa, because I found my pictures that I have from Botswana of baobab trees, and I did some in infrared, and they turned out pretty cool. So I'll share those tomorrow night, and the books from South Africa, and the one on the rhino too. So you'll get to see rhinos, baobabs, infrared, and hear a couple books from South Africa. Yay! But that was tonight's book. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. It wandering down the History Channel that I like to go on. Sometimes I am a bit of a history buff at times. I like to find out about those things. But anyway, that's what that is. Kids, yeah, they do. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad you liked it. Your tractor is your sanctuary. Oh my gosh, Larry. Yeah, my dad, Dad had talked to the hand down before it was even a thing. He would raise his hand up and say, if you came in the room, you know, he's like, I don't talk to crying females. Okay, he had 4 daughters and a wife, a sister, and a widowed mother, you know? all around. I mean, seriously. And it was hilarious because Dad, he couldn't handle it if we cried. So he just wouldn't talk to us if we cried. But seriously, his sanctuary was the tractor. He would, early in the morning, and he'd out and do things, but he would be out on the tractor a lot. I think to escape 4 daughters and a wife in the house at one time, sometimes they'd just go ride the tractor. You know, when you have hundreds of acres of orchards that need to be, you know, and ditch irrigation, you either ride the tractor or else you just go walk the ditches, check the irrigation. It's pretty funny. Oh well, the tractor is a sanctuary. Yep. Great story. I'm glad you liked it. Oh yes, Gail's told me that story, that her dad sold John Deere. Yeah, we own 8 tractors still. Oh my gosh, yes. We had, Gail, that's right, we talked about that, that connection. We had a John Deere, we had Massey Ferguson, I think the Caterpillar the cat was the big, and we had we had cats, and we had John Deere, we had Massey Ferguson's. They were the red ones. We had lots of tractors. We had different tractors at each different, sometimes we had some at the home ranch, and then the Caterpillar was the one that would get moved from ranch to ranch based on when it was needed, but because it was wasn't an easy thing to have multiple ones of. But we had, my dad and my great uncles had enough tractors that if I tore one up too bad, there was another one to take its place. Not that I ever intentionally tore up the tractor too badly, but I did learn how to fix them when I screwed them up. Yep. Yay. I miss my tractors. Yeah. My dad every day. They just decorating our yard. Oh, you need to go out and ride them. Teach your grandkids how to ride. All the neighborhood kids. Boy, that was my best learning I learned to drive a tractor way before I ever learned to drive a car. I can still remember, when my dad took my oldest nephew, Todd, out on the tractor and started to teach him how to drive it when he was little. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. All right. The Gambia, their compound, everyone came together to accomplish. Yes, yeah, you can do those kind of things. That's amazing, Julia. Yeah, there are those things of ways that people do that. It's pretty amazing. So, all right, you guys, I am going to wrap this up for tonight. Thank you so much for being here for Story and Art for another story time. I'll be back tomorrow night with some stories from South Africa and a couple photos from my trip. I'll have the rhinos and the baobabs because that's what the stories are about. And tell you a little bit about that part of the adventure. But until then, you guys, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. It's in every one of your hearts, so you don't have to look for it. It's just there. But share it out. Let everyone else see it. And I'll catch you next time. Really? Oh, how cool would that be? Yeah, this is a good, and there's so many facts on the back, Angel. I could have gone on for like another half an hour reading all the different facts. It's one of those that you can just go back and look at again and again. It's pretty easy to check out too. Oh, gosh. Thank you, Tamara. That's really sweet. Good luck choosing a geisha. I don't envy you that. Yes, I did get a haircut today. Mary, you always know that. Yay!